Lead generation is a nightmare for most coaches, especially those of you who are a one-man band. Here's the thing, coaches aren't salesmen, they aren't marketers, and we both know that you don't even want to be worrying about either of those things. Now, unfortunately, from what I'm seeing online, most so-called experts and gurus are giving you outdated methods, telling you to use some complex funnels, and just giving you processes to generate leads which are actually hindering your growth. Over the last few years, I have developed the newest, easiest and safest way to generate leads for a coaching business. The key here is though, the leads that I've developed don't just generate you any type of lead, they generate you higher quality, financially qualified leads that are people that you'd love to work with. Now, if you're wondering who I am and why I have any reason to speak on this, my name is Alexandros, for short you can call me Alexi. Essentially what I do is I take the guesswork out of sales and marketing for coaches so they can focus on why they started the business to coach and so they can grow with ease and predictability. And at the time of recording this video, I've generated coaches multi-six figures in revenue and I've generated them over 20,000 leads. And today, based on that knowledge of generating all those leads and all of that revenue, I want to show you exactly the easiest, safest and newest way to generate leads for a coaching business. So let's get straight into this, and I'm going to make sure that I make this explanation as simple as possible. So long story short, lead generation is very simply about capturing your ideal client, about bringing them into your world, collecting their information, getting them into your ecosystem. And the purpose behind doing that is so that you build up a base of people who are your dream clients who you can eventually sell your coaching to, whether that be immediately or whether that be a few months down the line. So let me just share with you the three key elements when it comes to actually generating leads for your business. So the first concept, which is absolutely key, is you need to understand who your target avatar is. You need to understand their biggest burning desire. You need to understand the biggest goal that they're trying to achieve and their biggest burning problem that they're trying to solve. The second element of lead generation, which I'm sure we all know, is that we need to create something that's going to capture the lead. For example, a lead magnet. But today I'm going to show you actually the cheapest and easiest way to capture leads as a coach. And the third element to consider is creating an advert that allows you to find your dream clients so that you have the opportunity to get them to opt in for your lead magnet. As simple as that, really. And I'm actually going to give you a winning framework for free today. The exact framework that, like I said earlier, I've used with coaches to generate the multi-six figures in revenue. So the first thing I want you to do, which is really clear, is really map out your target avatar. I want you to deeply understand who are you exactly targeting? What are their dreams? What are their goals? What are the things keeping them up at night? What have they tried before that hasn't worked for them? If you don't have a holistic whole picture of who your target client is, lead generation just isn't going to work for you. And I think this is the area where I see coaches falling apart the most. They try all of these different styles of ads, they try different types of content, they create different types of lead magnets. But a lot of coaches that come to me with all of these so-called strategies and lead magnets in place don't have a deep, true understanding of exactly who they're targeting and exactly what their messaging is for that target person. Now, if you don't get that right, very simply, you are going to have nothing to build out from a lead generation point of view. So I want you to pause this video for a second. I want you to grab a pen, a piece of paper, and I want you to brainstorm this because this is going to be the most key thing for you and your business when it comes to lead gen. So like I say, write down their goals, write down their biggest problems, write down things they hate, write down things that they're scared of, write down things they're skeptical of, and write down things that they've tried before. Map this out in as much detail as you can. Now, the key to this as well, when you're sort of defining your target avatar and defining who you want to target, I want you to really consider the level of awareness that your target client is. So let me explain what that means. So when you're speaking to customers, they have different levels of awareness. For example, you have customers who are product aware, so they understand what exactly it is you sell and how it works. You have customers that are solution aware, customers that don't know what your product is, but they know there are solutions out there and they know they have a problem. Customers who are problem aware. There are customers who understand there's a problem, but don't understand how to solve the problem. And then as you get further down that scale of awareness, people don't really know they have a problem. They don't really understand it. They're not really in the market looking for help. So when you're writing down these things, I really want you to consider for yourself and try and target the lead who is problem aware and solution aware. So the lead who understands they have a problem but doesn't know the solution, and the lead who knows they have a problem, knows there are solutions out there, but just doesn't know which ones are best for them. These are the types of leads you want to be targeting. And this step is so clear, right? You could go on YouTube, you could search up 1,000 different lead generation strategies, but the issue is for you is that if you don't have a clearly defined avatar and if you don't know the ins and outs of the person you're trying to capture, none of these strategies are going to work for you. So I'm really going to promote that you take this step seriously and you take some time to analyze the client avatar and map out who they are, what they want, and where they're trying to get to. Now, here's the quick thing I want to say. If you start trying to answer these questions that I've just given you, and if you are unable to define the target avatar, you don't have a lead generation issue, you have a niche issue. So if that's your problem, and if you can't define your target customer, I want you to stop this video, because I'm going to leave a little video that's going to pop up above for you, and it's going to show you how to define your niche as a coach. Right? Because like I said again, without that step in place, lead gen, sales, marketing, nothing's going to work unless you know who it's for. Now, once you've clearly answered those questions in terms of who your target avatar is, to be completely transparent with you, you have done the hardest part. Now, the next step of lead generation, the simple premise of all lead generation, is that you need to give people something of value. You need to give people something so valuable that they feel so silly saying no to. And of course, that needs to be something you're giving to your target customer to help them move one step closer to their goal or to overcome their problem. And funnily enough, this is also another area where a lot of coaches go wrong. Now, of course, here we're referring to step 2 of that list I gave you at the start, where we're discussing how to entice people to click and to become a lead. Now, here is where coaches go wrong with this step in the process, right? The first thing that I see a lot of is that coaches create a lead magnet that no one really wants. That's the first thing. The second thing is they create a lead magnet that doesn't actually bring in buyers. It just brings in people looking for freebies. And the third issue, and probably the biggest one, is that coaches use funnels for their lead generation to try and convert these leads into clients. And these 3 key areas are where your lead generation is falling apart, right? So let's get into this bit. So let's just quickly touch on the funnels bit, because I think a lot of you will find that interesting. The first thing I want to say on that is that if you are a coach, please just stop using funnels. Take that word out of your vocabulary. Now, yes, they all can work. We know they can work, but how bloody difficult are they to get working, right? So I'm not saying they don't work, but I'm saying for you as a coach, a funnel is not the optimal way for you to run your business, right? I typically work with coaches who are sort of stuck between the 2K a month to the 15K a month range. And a lot of the times, a lot of them are stuck because they've been told to use funnels and they're trying to set up this overly complex, overly diverse sales process and sales system which uses funnels. And because of that, they're just stuck in this situation where they don't know how to get it work because of the complexity of it. Now, the guys that I usually speak with who are trying to use funnels for lead generation as their sales process, typically they don't have a sales team or a sales rep to help them manage through the leads. So a large portion of the leads are just slipping out of the bottom of the funnel and you're never seeing them again. And also on top of that, the coach themselves is stressed out because they're generating all of these leads if they've got to that point. But because they're generating so many leads and because they're using a funnel, they have no way to nurture and to qualify the leads, so to speak. So they're just wasting money, putting money in for a system which is complex to even to get working, right? And not only that, but they don't have the back end to be able to manage the leads. So 1, they're not following up with the leads, so they're losing deals. And 2, just because they don't have the capacity to follow up with the leads also, they're again losing deals because people are slipping out of their so-called funnel. So the first step that I want you to implement for you, your coaching business, especially when it comes to lead generation, is use a beaker. Ditch funnels, use a beaker. So a beaker essentially is this. Think of in school, in science, right? You do experiments in the lab and you'd have a beaker, right? A beaker, if anybody doesn't know, it's a glass container. It's a glass container where nothing can slip out the bottom of it, right? It's got one point of entry and that's it. And the reason that we want to apply these principles to our lead generation, our marketing and sales, especially when you're a coach, is because it's easier to manage. Again, going back to my earlier point, coaches aren't salesmen and coaches aren't marketers. Yet you're signing up to programs, listening to people, telling you to implement funnels, complexity, based on the fact and the premise that they're getting told that and being told to tell you that from people who have big sales teams, who have big marketing teams, and who have the capacity to be able to manage this. Right? A funnel has so many individual steps where if one gets wrong or if one stops working, it's so hard to plug the hole and plug the leak. So a beaker, the reason you need to apply it, you need to apply the mindset of a beaker is because essentially what it means, again, you've got one point of entry and people stay in, just think of it in terms of science, one point of entry and people stay in this glass container and you create an ecosystem where people are trapped in your world and they have no way to escape, in a good way, of course. But this means for you as a coach, less complexity, easier to manage, easier to follow up with leads. And overall, it just means easier to do lead generation, easier to close deals and easier to follow up with people, right? Here's another concept to understand for you. About 10% of the market is going to buy here and now, right? 10% of people are going to jump on a call with you and be ready to go instantaneously. So what does that mean for you? That means if you use a funnel, very simply, people are just going to slip out of the bottom. People are just going to disappear, and you're going to be wasting your ad spend, and you're going to be wasting future potential clients. Whereas if you use a beaker, right, and you approach lead generation with the mindset of how can I keep people in my world? How can I keep people in my ecosystem? What then starts to happen for you, very, very simply, is that the leads that you generate are here now and forever, and your system and your marketing system goes further than the just 10% of the market that are ready to buy here and now. So applying beaker principles is really, really key for you as a coach to understand so that you can really have some longevity in your coaching business when it comes to lead generation and sales. Not only longevity, but simplicity. So keep that in mind for me. So now that you understand this step, let's look a bit more at stage 2 of lead generation as a coach. So obviously, like I said, the first thing you can fix is the beaker style of approach that you run. But in order to apply that, you also need to reflect that in the type of adverts that you're running for your business. So first of all, stop running to ebooks, to PDFs, to webinars, to free masterclasses, as this is not bringing you the leads that you need, and it's not bringing you top quality buyers. Instead, what I actually want you to do is to make your Instagram page a lead magnet. Why, you may ask? Why would you do that? Why would that be your method of lead generation? Very simply, on your Instagram page, you can create it into a marketing and sales asset that sells people on you, that sells people on your process, and that sells people on the fact that what you do can work for them. Right? Now, how powerful would that be as a lead magnet? If you had a lead magnet that did 90% of the selling for you. Right now, obviously, the people that you're generating as leads aren't going to know that's what your page is doing, but that is how you can start to apply beaker approach principles and use your Instagram as a sales and marketing asset, a lead magnet, and something that sells on behalf of you. Now, not only that, but using your Instagram page as now the lead magnet, long story short, what that means is that you can provide 100 times more value within that, and that makes your lead magnet 100 times more value. Think about it. If you give somebody a PDF, there's only so many pages of something you can write before they get bored, before they clock out, and before it's like information overload. But if you have a real in-depth Instagram with content on all the specific problems that your target clients have, content overcoming all their specific objections, sharing all of your client results, sharing all of your stories, as a simple byproduct of that, your content is going to be so powerful that you're going to be in a position where you truly can have a lead magnet that does all of the selling for you. Now, if you're a coach and you're under between 10 to 15K a month, this is by far the easiest, the safest, and the simplest way for you to do lead generation. And the reason being is because, well, like I already said, it's simple to do, first of all. And second of all, it's actually the most cost effective. Like I said, over the years that I've been running this business, I've run just about every type of advert that you can imagine, right? I've seen cost per leads of all the way up to £20, all the way down to 20p. And the adverts that are providing the 20p opt-in rates are the adverts that I'm sharing with you here today. So these are by far the easiest, especially if you're on a bit more of a limited budget when it comes to ads. This is perfect for you. Now, here's the other thing to consider as well, right? And this especially comes for lead generation using funnels, right? When you're running those types of adverts to like a PDF, a masterclass, an ebook, whatever that may be, right? People don't know who you are. They've just opted in for your free thing. They have no idea who you are, what your expertise are, what you're about, if they can even trust you. So half the time you just get people opting in to steal the free thing and just disappearing. Now, I'm sure you've experienced that yourself. But if you run adverts to your Instagram page to get people to follow you, all of this changes, right? Because here's what you need to consider. When people are about to buy a product, they need to be sold on 3 key areas. And these 3 areas are the 3 key objections as well, right? They need to be sold on your process, that it can work. They need to be sold on you as an expert and as a coach to believe that they're investing into the right person. And lastly, they need to be sold on the fact that it can work for them. Now, for a PDF, an ebook, or a webinar, you can't really do that, right? It's not the same level of intimacy. It's not the same level of connection that you can build. But with these new style of ads that apply beaker approach principles, you can answer all 3 of these key objections within your lead magnet. Imagine how powerful that is. Imagine a lead magnet that's not only providing value to your target audience, but a lead magnet that is also selling your target audience on why you're the go-to person to solve their specific problems. You're providing them value, you're selling them on your service, and that's without the back-end stuff that allows you to actually convert them. Just think about how much more powerful that is compared to what you're doing at the moment. Now, you may be thinking, how do I actually implement this lead magnet though? What does my Instagram page have to do with it? Well, it's pretty simple if you haven't understood it yet. Your content is the lead magnet, right? You can create content speaking on whatever topics you want. Each piece of content is a lead magnet within itself, right? And if you think about it, at the start of the video, I said to you to map out your target clients' problems, their goals, things they're scared of, what they've tried before, etc., etc. Now, if you create content on all of these specific topics, I don't think you understand how powerful from a marketing point of view your Instagram page then becomes. So now imagine you're the lead, right? You've got two coaches, right? Two replicas of yourself. Coach one offers you a PDF which you can download by giving your email. They try to call you, they try to email you, you're like, the lead's like, who the hell is this calling me? Why are they annoying me? I just want the free thing. The free thing's okay, there's not that much depth to it. And there's probably, let's say about 10% of that market is going to convert into a potential client. Whereas this other coach is also solving the same problem as you, but they're offering to solve it for free. You don't have to give them over your email or phone number initially. And that coach on their page has a collection of videos which is solving each one of your problems to some extent. It's helping you achieve your goal. It's showing you why what you've tried before hasn't worked and giving you a new and better way of doing things. From a leads perspective, how much more compelled would you be already from that second coach? There's not even a comparison. It's not really even a discussion. It's just so much more effective. And again, it just all stems back to this point, right? Coaches aren't salesmen. Coaches aren't marketers. You need something that's simple to follow, simple to implement, and simple to use for your business, right? And that is what these Beaker approach principles allow you to do. Now, also the other way to think of it, right? Like I said, is our advert isn't asking people for their name, isn't asking them for their email, isn't asking them for their phone number. We're saying to them, look, give me a follow, come into my world, take a look at all of my content. Let me show to you how I can help you completely for free. All you need to do is watch my videos. If you find them useful, give me a follow in exchange. How much less friction does that provide, and how much stronger of a compelling message is that in an advert? So now, not only are we getting people to join our world, to join our ecosystem, to join our beaker, so to speak, we're telling people very simply they've got to do is just follow for free. So now what that means for you as a coach is you have an easy way to manage your leads, right? Because now what happens is every piece of content that you post is nurturing your leads, building trust with them, building connection with them, and making them even more compelled to want to work with you. But not only that, everything is kept native to Instagram. So you can manage and control the ecosystem, control and manage the leads at a much easier level. Now, to start off with as a coach for lead generation, this is the best style of beaker that you can apply. When you're just getting started with lead generation, when you want to grow your business past the 10K, past the 20K a month mark, this alone is enough to take you there, very simply. And again, like I said earlier, just to repeat myself, this is by far the easiest way of running ads. Like I said, I have spent a ridiculous amount of money on adverts for myself and for my clients. These are the easiest ones and the cheapest. They are literally just a no-brainer. Now, I'm not saying the other ones don't work. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that these types of ads are by far the easiest, the safest, and the newest ways for you to run ads for your coaching business. And the reason why, again, you're not an expert salesman, you're not an expert marketer. These ads don't require you to be. You just have to understand a few very basic principles of how to get it up and running. And then you've got a system that's bringing you 20 to 30 new leads every single day, and not just random leads that you'd love to work with. And just to add on that, what's also important for you to understand as a coach is that once you get people into this ecosystem, because you might be thinking, hang on a second, this sounds good, but why is everything just reliant on Instagram? What happens if my Instagram gets shut down, etc., etc.? Well, this is why the beaker is so powerful, right? Because when you draw people into your world and you capture them into your beaker, into your ecosystem, then from that point on, you can then promote further lead magnets. You can then give out further things for free in exchange for emails to then capture people into your world even further. Then you can start to build an email list. So then you can have content that's nurturing them, emails that's nurturing them. And then if your Instagram gets shut down, you've got their information on email, so you're never without a business. So this is really, really important concept for you to understand, is that this beaker approach just creates for you an ecosystem and a world where your business can thrive no matter the circumstances, and that you know you've always got a backup when it comes to leads and being able to turn leads into clients. This is just such an important way for you to be running your coaching business. And I'm going to say it one last time. If you are using funnels, I want you to take that word out of your vocabulary and I want you to really rethink about how you're approaching lead generation. So now we've understood the avatar. Now we've understood the process, applying the Beaker principles, ditching the complex funnels. All you would need to do now at this point is create the advert, right? And to be honest with you, this is actually the simplest part of the process once you've applied the rest of the steps that I've just mentioned for you. Now, a key tip for you to understand when you're running ads for your coaching business is that the whole purpose of ads, and this is really, really important for you to understand, is that when you're running ads, you're only ever selling the click. You're only ever selling the next step. In your adverts, you're not trying to get people to buy. You're not trying to tell people how great your program is. You're trying to sell them on how great your lead magnet is and just getting them to click on it. It's really as simple as that. So the way that it works is that your ad sells the click, your page sells the follow. When you reach out to these new leads that are in your Beaker, in your ecosystem, your messages, the purpose of them are to sell the meeting to them. And the meeting is to sell the service. That's how the flow works. A big mistake as well that I see coaches making when it comes to adverts and lead generation is that in their advert, they're talking about their program, talking about their service, talking about how much it will benefit people. If you're doing that, you might as well put your money in the trash can because it's just a waste. Nobody is going to buy direct from the ad. Even if you're trying to do like a sales page, for example, to get people to purchase, people still have to read the sales page first before they even consider buying, right? So it's always, the ad is only ever selling the click to get them onto the landing page, the click to get them onto your Instagram page, however you're doing it, but just keep that in mind. So if you keep that in mind, again, your ads become easy. So what have we done at this stage, right? We've mapped out your target avatar in detail, so you know exactly who you're targeting and exactly how to bring them into your world. You've understood how to ditch funnels, how to apply simple Beaker principles so you can create an ecosystem where your lead generation and your ad spend spreads out as far as it possibly can. And then very simply, lastly, is the type of advert. And the advert is so simple, like I say, you call your target avatar out, you list out a couple of problems they may be experiencing, you tell them to follow your page, you put out a few short testimonials to back up what you're saying, and you wrap up that ad by again prompting them to follow. It's literally that simple. Now, if you apply everything that I'm about to share with you here, you are going to create a lead generation monster. But most importantly, a lead generation monster that you are able to easily manage. And like I said at the start of this video, this exact process and this exact approach to lead generation that I've just shared with you today has been responsible for me generating coaches multi-six figures in revenue and for generating them well over 20,000 leads. Now, I hope you found this useful. And if you want to see how this Beaker style of approach can work for you in your coaching business, if you're fed up of complex funnels, and if you just want an easier way of doing things, I'm going to leave a link below in the description, and it will also be the first pinned comment. And essentially on that link, there'll just be a video of me breaking down how it works. And if you want to discuss a bit further, there's an option for a call. No stress at all if that's not of interest to you right now, but I thought I'd put the option out there. And secondly, if you've got any more questions, my Instagram will also be in the description. So feel free to ask me some questions first if you're not quite ready to chat. But I hope you found that useful. Hope that gave you a fresh way of looking at lead generation. And yeah, ditch those complex funnels.